They can't fool you the same way anymore. Not because you are impossible to manipulate. No one is. But because your past turned what people called overthinking into survival intelligence, the part of you that notices the string before the manipulator even pulls it. It can sound like a normal question. Why are you so private? You can trust me. Why do you always need time? But something in your body notices the pressure before your mind has the words for it. That is pressure extraction, when someone uses guilt, urgency, intimacy, or confusion to pull an answer out of you before you have time to think. So before you answer, use the pressure pause. Ask yourself one question. Do I feel invited or do I feel pushed? And if the answer is pushed, don't answer yet. Slow the moment down before you explain yourself. For people like you, what others called overthinking may have been an early warning system running in the background, a way of noticing the signal before the noise. And when you slow the moment down, watch what happens. A normal person respects the pause. A manipulator tries to punish it. That reaction is your proof that the shield is working. And the first sign is this. You can feel the hook in a question before the words sound dangerous. The hook does not always sound cruel, sometimes it sounds casual. Why are you so private? Why don't you ever open up? What are you hiding? On the surface, it sounds like curiosity, but underneath it, you feel the pull. The question is not just asking for an answer, it is asking for access. That is the part most people miss. A normal question gives you room to answer slowly. A pressure question makes you feel like you must explain yourself immediately or prove you are not guilty. The old mistake was answering too quickly. You heard the words and ignored the pressure behind them. So you gave details, you defended your privacy, you tried to sound reasonable. But a manipulator does not always need the full truth. Sometimes they only need one opening. So the new sentence is simple. I'm going to keep that private for now. Not rude, not dramatic, not defensive. Just closed. Because a signal is not a sentence. It is a reason to slow down and observe. If they respect that, you learned something. If they punish it, you learned something faster. Once you stop answering the hook, the next thing that changes is how much you explain. The second sign shows up when someone puts you on trial without ever calling it a trial. They say, "Why are you making this a big deal? I'm just asking." You always need a reason. And suddenly, you feel pulled into a courtroom. So you start explaining your tone, your boundary, your schedule, your feelings. You explain so much that the other person now has 10 new things to argue with. That is the trap. Pressure loves explanation because explanation creates handles. Every extra detail becomes something they can twist, challenge, minimize, or use against you later. Maybe your past taught you that being misunderstood is dangerous. So you learn to explain fast, explain clearly, explain before anyone gets upset. But in the wrong hands, that becomes access. The shield here is, I need time before I respond. And if they keep rushing you, I don't make good decisions when I'm being rushed. Let's talk later. That sentence works because it does not accuse them. It simply removes you from the pressure. The more pressure they apply, the less information you owe. That is not cold, that is control. A safe person can wait. A manipulator wants your answer while your mind is still catching up. But pressure does not always sound aggressive. Sometimes it comes wrapped in kindness. And the third sign is dangerous because it can look exactly like the thing you were hoping for. You notice kindness that moves too fast. Someone becomes warm too quickly, helpful too quickly, personal too quickly. They say, I've never told anyone this before, but I feel like I can trust you. Or, you can tell me anything. Or, I feel like I already understand you. And maybe part of you wants to believe it. Because when you have spent a long time feeling unseen, fast understanding can feel like relief. But your early warning system notices the speed. Trust is moving faster than evidence. Closeness is being created before safety has been proven. And if this feels like overthinking, remember, you are not guessing. You are checking whether the pattern matches the pressure. A manipulator does not give a gift. They give a loan you never agreed to. If the kindness feels like a debt being created in real time, that is not intimacy. That is a down payment on future compliance. They may be creating a situation where you feel obligated to open up, agree, help, forgive, or reveal more than you intended. The old mistake was matching their speed. They shared something personal, so you shared something personal. They acted close, so you lowered the gate. They gave attention, so you gave access. The new shield is, I move slowly with trust. Real kindness gives you room. Transactional kindness tries to make you owe access, and once speed stops feeling like proof of sincerity, urgency loses power too. Most people survive the pressure, then fail the clock. The fourth sign is where the clock becomes the weapon. This is not information extraction. This is decision extraction. They say, I need an answer now. If you cared, you would decide today. Why are you dragging this out? Don't overthink it. The message is not just choose. The message is choose before you can think. That is why fake urgency works. It makes you feel irresponsible for slowing down. It makes patience feel like betrayal. It makes your pause look like the problem. But urgency is not proof of importance. Sometimes it is proof they do not want you thinking clearly. The old mistake was treating their panic as your responsibility. They moved fast, so you moved fast. They sounded disappointed, so you rushed to fix it. They acted like your delay was hurting them, so you abandoned your own process. The new shield is, I'm not available for this speed. And if the pressure gets louder, if it requires panic, I'm slowing down. That is the moment a manipulator starts losing leverage, because they were not only trying to get your answer, they were trying to control the condition under which you gave it. If you are noticing these patterns, this channel is where we build the manual for them. Stay close. And when they cannot rush your decision, the final test is whether promises can still erase patterns. Sign 5 is the level up. It is the difference between spotting the pull once and changing how you judge people over time. You track patterns more than promises. This is where survival intelligence becomes evidence-based. Someone apologizes, they explain, they charm, and they say, that's not what I meant. You know I care about you. I'll never do that again. And sometimes the words sound good. Sometimes they even sound sincere. But the pattern keeps returning. The same pressure, the same punishment, the same rush, the same access-seeking kindness, the same anger when you slow down. The old mistake was giving the promise more authority than the repetition. You wanted the words to be true, so you treated them like a reset button. But a promise does not erase a pattern. A pattern is the receipt. The shield here is, I'm weighing the pattern against the promise, and if you need it even clearer, I'm not deciding by what you promise. I'm deciding by what keeps happening. Now, charm has to compete with evidence. Apologies have to compete with repetition. And pressure has to compete with your memory. Normal behavior respects time, privacy, and pacing. Manipulation punishes time, privacy, and pacing. You have stopped accepting the terms and conditions of people who want to move faster than your safety allows. And that is why you are not hard to get along with. You are just hard to fool. So this is what the title really means. Your past did not need to happen for you to become wise. But if it taught you to recognize pressure, you are allowed to use that intelligence now. No one is impossible to manipulate. But some tactics stop working when you stop giving access automatically. And if you want to understand what manipulators were scanning for before they ever pressured you, watch, they're not getting to know you. They're scanning you. Next.